where you're not capacitated. But what we want now is that we bring education with production right from childhood, so that at least we will then provide for the national economy in our persuasions.
All right.
Such education has been denied to us. So we are taught to become wage labor slaves.
Wow, that is quite interesting right there, as Baster Magwizi is unpacking the ZAPU manifesto right there. But keep watching Kiona TV, the one, the only, because we want to understand further into ZAPU and as well as the manifesto right there. So stay tuned for more, because we still have so much more to discuss here with Baster Magwizi. Welcome back to the New Dawn, your premier breakfast show that is each and every weekday here on Kiona TV. And we are still in a studio joined by Baster Magwizi, a retired colonel and also an NEC member representing ZAPU, who is also in charge of policy and strategy, so has been unpacking the ZAPU manifesto for us here at Kiona TV. So we continue further with the discussion that we've been having over the past couple of minutes. You did highlight the fact that you are going back to the basics.
Yes.
When you are saying that you are going back to the basics, and the 2023 harmonized elections are just a couple of weeks away, and we know that ZAPU does not have a presidential candidate. How so?
Yes, going back to the basics does not necessarily mean that you have to field a candidate. But you are introducing a governance system. If it is acceptable in Zimbabwe by Zimbabweans, not necessarily of ZAPU, but by Zimbabweans, then a good life. All what we are fighting because it would have been ideal that we have ZAPU president contesting in the elections. But we have not been able to do that because economically we have been denied. Zimbabwe is not economically secure as one of the tenants.
Welcome back to the New Dawn, your premier breakfast show that is each and every weekday here on Kiona TV, the one, the only. Our sincere apologies for that slight technical glitch right there. It has since been rectified. So, sir, you are still taking us back into the basics relating to the reasons why ZAPU decided not to be fielding a presidential candidate for the 2023 harmonized elections.
Correct, yes. ZAPU felt that we would rather field lower members into society who are close to society, because ZAPU has been denied the mobility, ZAPU has been denied the maneuver, the resources. ZAPU had money. If their properties had been released by the current government that is sitting on them, ZAPU had its own resources. They had prepared for that. But for now, because ZAPU has not contested any other elections under the new dispensation requirements, hence they cannot be afforded government assistance, isn't it? So they have got to stand on their own. So we are self-funding from our own pockets. Zimbabwe has also monitored us from getting donations from all over the world. There are new laws in this country that are very draconian and restrictive, and that are also punitive. So in this case, we would rather bring in ideas, infuse ideas into those who are going to contest. And if our ideas are sellable and lock, stock, and barrel bold, then we are in government in the process. The idea is to change lives and livelihoods through the mindset. So if we introduce the new human security model, yeah, and then we introduce the need for electoral reforms as from a manifesto and constitutional perspective, and also the need for the security sector realignment, together with the press and everything else. You remember everything right now in this country is being monopolized. And this being monopolized by a political franchise that has given itself authority over others. The level ground is not level, as it were. The playing ground is not level. So ZAPU, by bringing in this new constitution, even if this policy, even if we do not contest by presidential, we have got members of parliament who are going to contest. We have got members in the Senate who are going to contest. And we have got members in wards, not only in one part of the country, but all over the country in selected places where ZAPU has resonance. But by putting up this manifesto on this platform right now, and on Twitter and everywhere else, our intention is to educate the communities of Zimbabwe, local, international, in the diaspora, young, old, rural, and urbanized, so that they see what ZAPU stood for from 1961. If Samuel Parenyatwa would wake up today and ask, and say, but what has happened to this country? I'll tell you, we will be ashamed to explain to him that your people are still suffering so many years later. And 43 years down the line, after independence in Zimbabwe, we are still languishing in poverty, in abject poverty. People surviving in less than $1 a day. This is not acceptable. But if we introduce these new ideas today, then ZAPU is part of the people, because we are trying to transfer power to the people in a devolved state of affairs. The promise is for the youth.
All right. Thank you so much for that one. So you're highlighting the fact that you are fielding members of parliament as well as councillors. How has it been working in your favor, considering that we are already in election mode and campaigns are rolling out in various political parties? So how has it been working in your favor as ZAPU?
Well, it has been difficult, like we have alluded to the issue of logistics that limit mobility and maneuver. We do not have sufficient cars. But so we have to rely on media, on digital media like this, so that at least our reach is
so
impactful.
Meaning you are not going to the people?
We are visiting communities. But ZAPU, the publicity on ZAPU is very limited. Chronicle and Herald will never put anything that has been done by ZAPU. They would rather put CCC and ZANU-PF, because these are their projects. I'm not, deregulating anybody or looking at scorning on anyone, but I'm saying because ZAPU, they know, all of them, that ZAPU is a potential power in this country, and in fact is the bedrock of politics since 1961.
But what have you been doing so that the people can be able to know that ZAPU is contesting when it comes to the members of parliament as well as councillors?
We are reaching out in those communities where we have fielded candidates, and the countrywide as a whole, so that at least we then ignite the interest of communities, so that they also like what ZAPU is bringing forward. But through this TV, through the Twitter, we are also reaching the academics, opinion makers who are going to propagate this message further beyond this TV and talk about this. When they have downloaded this document, then they will be passing it around. Hence, ZAPU is not top down, but it is bottom upwards. So it has to regenerate itself from the grassroots, from the community. So that's the need, therefore, to coin it up with the devolved power, because it originates from grassroots.
Wow, quite interesting right there. So in terms of the ZAPU manifesto, where can viewers at home be able to access it?
Well, they can access it on Twitter, it's there, on Facebook, I think it's there, on ZAPU.org, it's there, here Kiona TV, and I'm sure they are watching also, they can also, through you, get the copies of the manifesto.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. All right. There, sir, for those words. And as we come to the end of this discussion, what are your parting shots that you have for the viewers out there relating to ZAPU and its ethos?
ZAPU is the bedrock of politics, but it is the party of the future. And the youth of today, I am encouraging them to read the manifesto, look at the forward by the president, study the human security model, study the electoral reform requirements, the promise to the diaspora, look at the rural economy. Our projects in the next 5 to 10 years, the major corridor projects, and look at what we want to do with people-to-people reconciliation. Peace, eventually, is the bedrock. Joshua Nkomo was the father of Zimbabwe, the father of peace, and so we stand by his word today and say, ZAPU will never die. ZAPU, Zimbabwe.
Wow, quite interesting right there in studio with Baster Magwizi, a retired colonel and also an NEC member representing ZAPU, who is in charge of policy and strategy. It has been all things to do with a ZAPU manifesto that they released right there, and they also did highlight the fact that you can be able to access it on various ZAPU platforms right there. Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us here at Kiona TV.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So it has been so much interesting, so educational here on the New Dawn, as we've been able to try and unpack the ZAPU manifesto, what it stands for leading up to the 2023 harmonized elections slated for the 23rd of August. Right there, it's been interesting, it's been fun. So from myself, Duduzile Matema, from Leslie Perry, the crew behind the scenes, we are saying goodbye and have yourself a beautiful Monday.